A few years ago, I made this video on Italian style. While I still stand by everything I said, I made a lot of broad generalizations, and I think that was a mistake. I mean, look, that's being pretty dramatic. I don't think anything is a mistake, but I've been living in Italy for a while, and today I want to break down the difference in style between the two cities that I am the most familiar with. I've actually gotten this question a lot. So today I'm going to break down the style between Rome and Milan, what to wear in both cities, what their vibe is like, and what I've been wearing in both cities. And don't worry, I've got another video coming where I'll show you how I'm tweaking the same outfit for each of these different cities. In the meantime, if you like Italian style, or if you just like the idea of shopping your closet and still struggle to feel stylish using what you already have and putting cool combinations together, definitely grab a ticket to my live Shop Your Closet event. It's digital. We have two really cool guests whose closets we shop. So you get to understand the principles, the elements of style, like proportion, texture, changing up silhouettes, all of these little styling tweaks and principles that are really important, but you get to see them styled in real time on two different bodies with two different style types. So it's a really cool experience. I have a blast. I always learn something, and usually the people who come do too. I will leave all of the information for tickets and details in the description box below. I hope to see you there. I love getting a sense of personality from the places that I'm visiting. So if you've never been, this should give you a picture of the city itself. You've probably heard people say that in Milan, people will dress up just to go do their groceries or go run an errand, and this is actually very true. This is of course based on just my personal observation, and of course there are exceptions to the rule. Not everybody looks like they're stepping off of a runway, but the majority of people are well-dressed and well put together. Milan kind of dictates this as a city. It is the commercial and industrial center of Italy. Not only are the looks reflective of that in the fact that they are sharp, they are elegant, understated, very sophisticated, but they're also very trend-led and forward-thinking. So it's a really interesting coupling. Think of contemporary silhouettes, so there's your modernity, but in very classic and rich heritage kind of textures. So wools, silk, cottons, linens, fur or faux fur, vintage fur most likely, hopefully, leather as well. There are more obvious designer choices, and I don't mean logos everywhere or everybody wearing a designer bag. It's not really about that. It's just more designer inspired or designer led purchases. Again, it's that whole forward thinking. The Milanese also use accessories extremely well, whether it's footwear, a good bag, interesting jewelry, hats, scarves, because this is what brings forth that individuality and that personalization to their very sophisticated and elegant looks. That's where they add the playfulness. There are a lot of darker colors, lots of black coats in the winter, and I think this is a reflection of the weather in Milan. It rains a lot all year round, and I also think it speaks to their efficiency and that driving force. An analogy that I hope really helps you understand the vibe of Milan is that Milan is like the girlfriend you call to get shit done. You know, she's the one whose closet you shop when you need to make an ex really, really jealous. Okay? That's the kind of woman Milan is. Now for Rome, the city where I am currently. I mean, it's called the Eternal City for a reason, and I think this is reflected in its style. It's unassuming, kind of eternally glamorous, even if it's a little bit louder and richer in texture and color compared to Milan. It's got this kind of bohemian flair about it, and I say this eternal glamour because it's almost like, just like the city has been around for, we could say what feels like eternity. It's almost like the residents too have that sense within them. They know that if their outfit isn't super trendy, it's fine, it's good. Like, they're still gonna wear it because it speaks to who they are. This is translated into a really rich and interesting combination of colors. They are brighter, they are more bold in their choices of texture and color, and yet it's all very harmonious. I would compare Rome to that friend who calls you up at 11 p.m. on a random Tuesday because the moon is in alignment with some sort of ancient god whose name is I don't even remember, but there's a new club that opened in honor of this, and she wants you to come with her because life is about enjoyment and just having fun and living it to the fullest. Rome is magnetic and slow moving and also very chaotic, whereas Milan is intense, it's driven, and it's efficient. That's also one thing to be said about Rome and how this affects their accessories. Sunglasses, almost always, and footwear is comfortable. Whereas in Milan, I could wear a heeled boot all day long. There aren't as many cobblestones on the street, and public transportation works like 9 times out of 10. Whereas in Rome, I've waited for buses that just don't show up, and I've had to walk to a certain location. So that's how the two cities feel to me. However, if you live in these cities, I would love to know your thoughts so you can add to this conversation. Give us a better sense of where you live. One of the best comparisons I can do are these two images here. So the one on the left is in Milan, which you can probably guess these guys are wearing sharp suits. Even the more sort of creative looking fellow on the end there, black and white, interesting, dramatic proportions. And then the other guys are like, you know, they're on a mission. I don't know where they're going. I don't know what they're getting done, but they're gonna get there. That's all I know. Whereas this gentleman in Rome, who I saw on the street on my way to get groceries, literally, I kid you not, would stop every few feet just to read a passage of his book. Look what he's wearing. A mix of textures. There's corduroy, there's cotton in his shirt, there's silk in his tie. The silhouette of his trouser is actually a jogging pant. It's softer, but he's wearing it with a loafer, which is like a little bit weird, but it works. The colors he's using are a mix of desaturated and rich. They're harmonious. They're in this really interesting earthy palette. I don't think you can see it in the photo very well, but he's got this like pale pink tie on. I found these two images to just be so telling in how these two cities differ. How did that translate to my style and my closet? It definitely affected my own personal style, and I think in a really good way. I found myself to be drawn in Milan to the darker pieces in my closet, which is good because that's what I brought a lot of in my travel capsule, a lot of blacks, a lot of navy. It almost felt like when I was stepping out for the day, I was putting on armor. I felt like I needed to sort of channel my inner femme fatale. I was wearing my dark, heavier Celine sunnies. I also tend to enjoy tailored and sharp separates already. That's part of my personal style. So those worked really, really well with Milan. Now in Rome, I've only been here for a little bit, but I have had the opportunity to spend time here before in this city, so I knew what I was getting into. Here, the lighter palette is a lot more what I'm feeling. I switched over my clothes. My parents are actually in Italy now, so they brought over some of my spring pieces for me, and they're a lot lighter, but it's also the softness of the silhouettes. I'm feeling drawn to less structured and sharp pieces. Rome itself is a city in which I feel a lot more at ease and unhurried. So that's reflected in my clothes as well. Softer silhouettes, softer colors. So that is what I have for you today. I hope you liked this little comparison. Stay tuned for the next video in this series where I actually shop my closet and tweak it using very easy wardrobe items that I think we all have, so that, you know, it'll just give you some ideas on how to tweak your outfits for different vibes without shopping. Or if you are traveling to Italy in the near future, hopefully it gives you an idea of the difference in styles between North and South and Rome and Milan. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your excitement about slow fashion. I'm so, so grateful. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, week, evening, wherever you're at. Give this video a like if you learned something new, or if you just enjoyed watching it. Hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I will be back with another slow fashion video.